Blog Talk Radio.
He is the last of his kind. All that remains of a once powerful nation. Some think he is a myth. Some believe he is the chosen one, who will bring balance to a world at war. And some will stop at nothing to destroy him.
It's time. Summon of the Moors, December 19th through the 20th in Jacksonville, Florida. Several great minds working on one collective, economic security. For the first time in Jacksonville, Taj, Tariq, Bay, Yusuf, L, Akili, and back at the summit, Red Pill and Blue Pill, Tarhaka, Amana, El Bay, Sharif, Nova, and our Amma, the Abundance Child, with myself, Dalo Saku. Register today at www.summitofthemoors.com.
Welcome, everybody, to Moors Talk Live 100. I'm your host, Tarhaka, Amana, El Bay. And this evening, we're going to be dealing with why people of African descent cannot be Western Freemasons. Our special guest will be Dr. Akhnaton, Pert, M. Heru, Tutankhamun Bay. We'll be dealing with the following questions. What does the Holy Book say about oaths? What does the dictionary say about oaths? Are oaths practiced in open U.S. courts? Are death oaths used by true Freemasons to conceal the burial of the African God-man? And just what is Freemason anyway? These are just a few of the questions we're going to deal with here this evening. And these some awesome headlines here. Why people of African descent cannot be Western Freemasons. Keep in mind, we will be opening up the phone lines later on, but we're going to get to the bottom of this first. And you simply press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that you have something to say. I will open up the line, and we're ready to go. Now, before we get down into this, I'm going to do my commercials. Then when I come back, we're ready to go. Hold on.
Okay, everybody, listen up. If you have been served with papers for foreclosure, or if you are already in court fighting foreclosure, call Tarhaka Amana El Bay at area code 904-303-9061 for the foreclosure killer. You can visit our website at www.newdebtelimination.com. You don't have to lose your home. Call Tarhaka 904-303-9061 before 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stop foreclosure dead in its tracks. Okay? One more time. Our foreclosure killer package not only comes along with the necessary documents that you need, but also your very own personal coach to walk you through the process of saving your home. If you've been foreclosed on already, or if you've received documents stating that you'll be foreclosed on, or if you are already in the court fighting a foreclosure, contact Tarhaka Amana El Bey, 904-303-9061. Also visit our website at www.newdebtelimination.com. Stop foreclosure on your property. Let's stop this unlawful practice. Contact me, 904-303-9061, before 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
Okay, we back, boys. Now, for those of you, I've gotten a lot of calls from people wanting to know about the Moorish American government. And the website to visit is www.moorishamericangov.org. That's moorishamericangov.org. Okay, the registration form is there. You fill that out, and you also want to dial into the national conference calls that are held 7 days a week, and we will be bringing you this information. Well, without further ado, it's time for us to go into the broadcast. So I'll be opening up the phone line to see if my guest is ready. Area code 434. Are you with us?
Peace and blessing. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're coming across loud and clear, sir.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Ready?
Could you lead us in prayer?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam.
Amen. Islam. Now, Grand Entry Chairman, we got a lot of folks out there of African descent, and my brother, he's one of them, that actually believe that they can be Western Freemasons. Could you give us a breakdown on the history of Western Freemasonry?
Oh, Islam. First, having already risen, give praise and honor, I do want to extend much honor to Noble Drew Ali for bringing us these truths so that we can come out of slavery into the freedom of a nation of people. And give much honor to you, too. You know, we've been hanging together, man, for down through the years, man. I always appreciate you and the work you do. The history of Western Freemasonry is very, very rarely known, especially when it comes to our people, people of African descent. And the European, it's not up to them to tell it, because if they told it, for example, if you listen to them tell the history, how they got here, then it was some monkeys that did it. And then from the monkeys came the Cro-Magnon man, Neanderthal man, and that's their way of saying that some kind of way or another, their creation came, their beginning came from out of Africa. That's where the most monkeys are at. So, like so, Western Freemasonry came about the same way. It came out of the teachings that was very much embedded in the origin and the wisdom of the continent of the African peoples. And if you want to get specific, we can go to just Egypt, because all of the holy prophets and angels and was also adorned and taught there in Egypt. And I mean, starting from Adam all the way up through the one they called Jesus, right to Drew Ali. All of them had to get their teachings from Egypt. Like so, the teachings that were there had to do with what is known today as character building. And the character of the human was to be built so that he would become not only conscious of the fact that he and the great God are one, but so that he can also be the message that he brings. In other words, it's not just enough for him to know who made him, but for him to be what he knows. So these are the original teachings that were there in Egypt, and that was the purpose. In fact, when they use these what they call tools, you see with the Masons they call it the compass and the square and the other tools that they use. Well, those tools, the Europeans didn't know nothing about no tools. They never built nothing until the advent of Africa. I had to go up there and teach them how to build something, because they were still crawling around on all fours. The thing about it is that we were using the tools to build up our character, and the tools were mainly used in the workshop of the mind. In other words, they were not. You may see drawings of them. They may even have been used for making certain structures and things, but the real tools was always used in the classroom of the mind, whereas that this compass or the square or the plummet, the saw, the hammer was made to drive home the truth until it became a part of every part. So each tool served its purpose and the building up of the character. And so by the time it was finished, the finished product was known as a mastermind. And this is where the Europeans, when they came to Egypt, and they seen that the Moors there, the Africans, if you will, was worshiping God that the Europeans could not comprehend because they couldn't see. So what in the world are they praying to something that they don't see? And to this day, they still don't understand it. But anyway, they stole everything out of Egypt as the time went on that they could see, touch, taste, or smell. In other words, as long as it was appealing to the five senses, it was all right. But the one thing about the five senses, they came with the body, and when the body dies, so does the five senses. But that's not the end of the spirit man. Anyway,
right.
What they did, they took these teachings and the tools, and they began to utilize these things when they got back to Europe and to the rest of their own people. They were so out of it that they could easily dominate and even scare most of them, because they thought that the ones who came back from Africa and had these strange teachings, they were able to add 2 + 2 = 4. And this guy, that was amazing, and they thought it was witchcraft. And so they went from that to other dominions of the teachings that led to the point where that they become very dominating with these teachings that they had, but they never had the spirit of love in the teaching. They never had the spirit of truth in the teaching. They never even had the spirit of justice in the teaching. So as time went on, when we had well, let me deal with the Arabs first before we get back to the Europeans. The Arabs had was known as the East African slave trade. This was prior to the advent of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, before he was born amongst the Arab people. And they were capturing African people on the east coast of Africa and selling them to the sheiks and the hierarchies there in India. So the East African slave trade, actually those who was doing it had a lot of skills and expertise along the line. So as time went on, by 1492, when they created the West African slave trade, they knew full well what they was doing. But at this time, Muhammad had been through there, and they would call themselves Muslims. And this was a cover. But what happened with the Arabs after Muhammad left, because he outlawed slavery, and so after he left the body, the Arabs not only did they bring back slavery again, enslaving Africans, but they also reinstituted what was called the prayer, and they had the people praying to a certain direction 5 times a day, bowing down, and that was never the teachings that came out of Egypt. It was never the teaching that Muhammad gave. So So when the Europeans came, and the Arab was so weak with this that they would come across West Africa, it was easy for them to conquer, if you will, Tunis, Tripoli, Algiers, and especially Morocco. And that's what became the seat or the headquarters of the West African slave trade that lasted from 1492 to, well, let's just say almost 500 years, okay, of slavery, West African slave trade. And out of this, those same Europeans that got the African teachings, they became known as Western Free Masons. And the reason why they call themselves Mason, because they call themselves builders, because they knew how to build, take some bricks and blocks and things and build structures with it. So, but that was just a surface thing. It really didn't mean anything. What they was actually building was a whole nother, what is known as a Commonwealth society. And that was to their own liking, because they became rulers and leaders of the West African slave trade. So what happened, to bring it up to date, if you can just imagine now, here you have slavers, slave catchers, slave holders, slave masters, all here in the Americas, including the adjoining islands and everything. And over a period of time, they had lost their true identity. They no longer knew that they was from Zimbabwe or whatever part of Africa you want to name. They had no clue. They thought they was actually what the slave masters. These are Masons now. These are, all Masons are slave masters. This has got to be pointed out. You can check the record with George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. All of them were slave holders, slave masters. But anyway, what they did and dominated the West African slave trade under Western Freemasonry, they could tell the product that they were producing by its maturity. If they did, the less that they knew about themselves and their history, the better the product, the more apt they would be a slave. And that's really the foundation of the whole thing. So what happened, by the time the 17th century rolled around, this is like almost 300 years later, from 1492 to 1774, I think it was, when Prince Hall was introduced to Western Freemasonry. Well, by this time, the European was known as Master. He was the master. You didn't question it. If you was sun-kissed any kind of way, then you was a Negro, black, colored, whatever the case may be. This was the names that the Masons gave to their slaves. Now, this is very important because Masons was running what was known as the colonies, although it was under the United Kingdom at the time. But the colonies later became known as the new United States. The thing about it is, the one thing they hold in common is that it was the European pale-skinned Masons that was running all this the whole time, right here to this very day. Masons are running the United States since 2015. They're running it today. Okay, but let me bring it up as to how we got involved in this mess. In 1774, dealing with Prince Hall, he became the head of the first Negro Masonic Lodge. Now, I have to point that out because later that word Negro became so popular. They had a Negro Wall Street. Today they call it Black Wall Street, but that was not the original name. It's sort of key to remember these are the names that Drew Ali pointed us out in his Divine Constitution, Act 6, that the names Negro, Black, and Colored was given to the slave by the slave holders. In other words, the Masons. If you was in power enough that you could name the property Negro, black, and colored, this means that you were not just a political leader or community leader or national leader. This meant that you were a Mason, and you got to figure out what is the criteria, what does it take to be a Mason. There are three things it takes to be a Mason, and this is key. One, you have to be a pale-skinned male, European. That's number one. Number two, age 21. That's number two. Number three, sound mind and body. So in other words, a pale-skinned male, European, age 21, sound mind and body. Then you could be a Western Freemason. You could come on into the Masonic Lodge and take your oaths, and it's on. It's okay. So nowhere along the line do an African fit into this description, especially when it comes down to the real part as far as being a European. You can identify him with a particular continent, nation, or whatever. But what about the African? There's no identity there. Negroes don't have continents. They don't have areas to live in. Black people don't have continents. Colored people don't have these kind of, because these are slave names. They don't mean anything. There's no attachment to the human family. In fact, it's just the opposite of attachment. In fact, it's called denationalization, which is a crime, by the way. But for you to take away the national identity or the true identity of a human is criminal. It's called denationalization, okay? But this is what the Western Freemasons specialize in creating an entire population of millions of slaves, okay? Now, the hard part about this is today it is almost impossible to tell one of our so-called black Masonic brothers that he is not a Mason. He don't have the criteria. He don't have any country, no history, no nothing. He's still the same Negro property that the original slave masters named during the time of constitutional slavery. The 14th and 15th Amendment still support it to this day. Okay? So the reason why I wanted to point that out as to the history is because to know how a thing is put together, you can measure out its value. Okay? If you still think that an African can be a Mason, this means that you also believe that a slave master can also be a slave. A slave can be a slave master at the same time. That is an impossibility. It's not going to happen. Okay? So to prove what happened to Prince Hall is the same thing they proved to what happened to Shaq O'Neal and many other brothers. I could just name about hundreds, okay, who are still think they're Masons to this day. Prince Hall was shown, as all Masons, Negro Masons are, they are that because the best name for them was called Uncle Tom. Now, what that means is that they was in favor of the slave masters. In other words, they were called house Negroes. They were there in conjunction with pleasing him. And he, in turn, the slave master that is, in turn, would give them all kinds of favorism above and beyond their peers. In other words, other slaves. If he was a Mason, the European might give him he might have a house with a roof on it. But some other kind of, whatever it was always some favoritism, okay? And he was just, he was there to lead his people or to keep mark on his people. In other words, they were the snitchers. They were the house Negroes, okay? And they would let the master know exactly what was going on the plantation. and that's how it all started. So when you look back at Prince Hall, you say, well, but he was a Mason. You got to remember he was still what they call a Negro. I don't care where he was born at. If he hit the continent of the North America continent, he became an instant slave. Either that or you had to catch the first thing sailing away from here before they put you on it, because there's no difference between a free Negro and a Negro slave. They're both Negroes. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So with Prince Hall, just to show you what happened, when he became a Negro Mason, there was no United States. There were still the colonies at that time. And when in 1779, when the United States became a country, if you will, then they wrote the very first article in their Constitution, and they wrote Prince Hall in there as 3/5 of all other persons. They didn't include the Indians not taxed. Okay? So he was still property. And the Masons were the one that wrote the Constitution. Mason was the one that owned the United States. It was their country. It was founded upon slavery. The new United States, it would, in fact, I'll put it to you this way more, and I hope your audience is sitting down. There would not be a United States right now to this very day, 2015, in December. It's still founded upon slavery. Right now, the United States has never, ever been without its slaves. If you got a bunch of, what's about 60 million black people still doing the same thing that happened with Prince Hall when the new United States became a country and a government. The Masons wrote in their property in the very first article. The only real citizens at that time that could be a citizen had to be the one that could attend to the oath of being a Mason. He had to be age 21, pale skin, and he had to be a European. Okay? Now, that was to be a citizen. This is how, if you look and check the record, when we was coming up, you couldn't be a man until you, 21? That's right. Because European Masons put it there in their law, in their record books. And that's where the age 21 comes from. We all know that you started in adulthood around the age of 12. 13 at the latest. It don't matter whether you male or female. That's the way nature is. But the Europeans say, nah, you don't be grown around here until 21. And that's on the record, his books, to this very day. And look how many people believe that to this very day. So when Prince Hall, when they wrote the Constitution, they wrote Prince Hall in as property. And it's been that way ever since. Why? Because Negroes, blacks, and colored people have always been slaves, because these are the names that was given to slaves. So I had to give you that history before we can go into the rest of this stuff.
Okay.
Tarhaka, are you there?
Wow. I'm here, man. That's amazing, because we got so many brothers that claim in they're Masons, and according to the description, I'm trying to figure out how is that possible. But with that history, that explains a lot. Now, they have to take an oath. I think that's a part of their being a Mason, with a real Mason. So what is the oath all about?
Well, for one thing, let's go back to Egypt. Remember I said that the Europeans stole everything that they could see, touch, or taste, or whatever, okay? And they could not understand the things that was on the spirit level. It never made any sense to them, okay? So when it come down to the oath, then this right here is almost like a prayer, where you get your honesty to its highest level. Okay, and this is without it's a commitment. You take an oath or a sound judgment towards anything or anybody, and that oath confines you to your declaration, your word, if you will. It confines you to that, and you can't take it back. Why? Because you are the one that used the oath. You committed yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And little did you know that the oath has always been outlawed when it comes down to real law. I'm talking about spirit law, revolutionary law, holy law, divine law, any kind of real law, oaths are forbidden. It's in the great Quran of Muhammad. It's that way in Surah 15. Drew Ali even spoke about it himself. He said, look, if you're honest, oaths are unnecessary. Drew Ali spoke about it too. So well, another thing about oaths is that oaths will, a real oath, it makes you swear to a lie unto yourself.
Wow.
Okay? Not only that, but it makes you hold that lie that you would never tell nobody except those who are in your particular order, or fract, if you will, fraternal order, that the same lie fooled you too. And that even if you find out later that it's a lie, you've been fooled and faked out your brain, you still can't tell nobody. They're witness to that. I've met many brothers, because there ain't too much about masonry I don't know. Scratching, digging, signs, and symbols of things. And I've tried to tell many brothers, and most of them are scared to death when it comes down to, wait a minute, if I do this, you mean I'll be free? I said, yeah, it takes the truth to make you free. Oath is a lie. Okay? In fact, if you find out in Surah 15 in the Great Quran of Muhammad, it lets you know that it speaks about in Ayat 1, it tells you about the oath. That's an evil, it's an evil deed. Okay, and in 16, in fact, I put that out there to the public too. It creates an oath, creates a screen that the taker or the giver, the one that takes the oath, is something for him to hide behind. That creates a screen between him and the public that's still a lie. Okay? It's redirecting the truth away from, so it's a lie. And Ayat 18, it also lets you know that straight up that nobody deals with oaths except but liars. And this is in the Great Quran of Muhammad. Okay? It's right there in Surah 15 for those that, who want to check it out. Looking at Ayat 1, 16, and 18. Okay? So, oaths, like Drew Ali said, if you're honest, oaths are necessary. You don't have to be taking an oath if you're honest anyway. Why? Okay? Because if you're honest, you don't have to go swearing nobody. I swear this and I swear that. And if you notice in the European courts, that's the first thing they ask you to do. You solemnly swear. Okay? I want you to put your hand on their Bible at that. Okay? Now, that lets you know right then how ignorant you are. You're so out of it that you can tell a lie in their lion's den, in their courtrooms. Because if you go in the courtroom and you let them make you take an oath, then you already been made a fool of. And if you look up the definition for the term oath, whether it be in the Standard Dictionary or you could go, I like the Black's Law myself, but it's the same thing. It makes you dedicate yourself to something you ain't got no business dealing with. If you really would check the record, you wouldn't do it. You really wouldn't do it. And I tell you how far it can go too. Have you ever noticed that even at weddings, you find people take oaths to each other?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He swear to her, and she swear to him, and they oath each other. Okay. That is not good. Okay. So what it does, but it gets you commit yourself down. Here you got. Let's just deal with it, because I like being real about the matter. Okay, you got a slave, a black man. Well, let's throw the Eastern Star Sisters in there too. Okay, they stand up there, taking oath. They don't know no better. Okay, so here is the European order. They got a Masonic lodge that they now have the Negroes doing. The Negro male, they done found some kind of way or another to say, look, because the women can do it too. And boy, them European women, they got, for lack of a better word, they got pissed. When they found out
mad.
Oh man, yeah. When they found out what their men had done to them, for example, remember when I told you that in order to be a citizen of the United States, you had to be 21 years, a male, European male, age 21, sound, mind, and body?
Right.
Okay, to be a citizen. That means the only people that could be a citizen of the United States was just that, a Mason. That the women could not be citizens, and slaves, Indians are not taxed. Okay? Nobody could be a citizen but them. That's why I told you it's their country. Okay? And it's that way to this very day. Now, when you really look at the real bad side of that, you say, well, let's see, the United States has never been without its slave. But they're so happy. They got feathers on, and you got little tassels that they hide under the head and things, and they take the little oaths and stuff, and they just as happy as they can be. Why? Because they're Masons now. Okay, and you can tell why, because they're in the front of the church of what's happening now. They're Reverend so and so. His whole deacon board, trustee board, all of them are Masons. The brotherhood. In fact, you're raising all the young men up so they can be in line. When they get 21, they can join you. Okay, and the same thing with the sisters too. But the thing about it is, ain't none of them free. There ain't a free black person on the planet. This country. Where's his government? Where's his flag? Oh, wait a minute. There is a flag, but a black flag, but it kills roaches. Okay? So come down to the actual people themselves, those who think that they are Masons, they have been used up and without any grease. It's sad because during the time of slavery, these were the ones they called Uncle Tom. But now, today, they are the ones who actually keeping the other people suppressed by making them think that they're happy because they got the latest song out, or they made the latest outfit, or they helped create the latest car, or it could be they might have won the Olympics. Okay, they could be in a number of things that they did to support their slave master. And the slave master's happy, and they happy too, because the slave master's going to make sure that this particular Mason, which is the top of the line slave, has got it going on. And he's going to, here's a mansion over here for you. Okay? So the rest of the people can look and see that if you're real good, you can get a mansion too, but they're going to have to join the lodge, see? And this day, how many of them have joined the lodge? And they do not want to, because I've seen them come to the Marshall American government, man, and they'll be paranoid as a goldfish, just as scared as they can be. Go. Say, well, look, there's no freedom there. None. No freedom there at all. You cannot be free and be a Uncle Tom to the real Masons at the same time. Why do you think out of 60 million people, out of 521 years, the Negro, black people still ain't free? Why? because they got Masonry all up in there. Masonry is so strong. It's so as amongst it. It's like I titled my book, the Noble Drew Ali, The Exhuming of a Nation. The subtitle is Exhuming of a Nation because of Western Freemasonry. Exhuming means to dig up a body. Okay?
Right.
So exhuming of a nation means that there's a nation that's been buried somewhere. Now you got to go dig it up. Okay? And the dirt that has buried the Moors and our people is Western Freemasonry. They cannot come from underneath of that no matter what, except for but one way they can do it, and that's the truth. They got to be the truth. Otherwise, they're in that shallow grave and just as happy as they can be, but they're not free. Okay? They're not free. Check the record. Look around right now and look at all the schools, universities, and whatever, communities, and everything. And how many of our people are free right now?
None that I can see.
Okay? And every last one of them is underneath the wealth and law. It don't mean you got to be a Mason to be subjected to this kind of entombment or this kind of burial. Okay? But Western Freemasonry is so powerful amongst our people that they are self-enslaving themselves. The European don't have to do it. They're doing it now because while the lodge is where they make their commitment to, and they come out from the lodge and they run everything else. You got Masons at the pulpit of every church. You got Masons at the pulpit and altar of every Moorish Science temple. Okay? I'm just going to give it to you straight, all right? If wherever you find a Mason, you're going to find slaves. It's just that simple. I mean, those who think they're African descendants and think they're Masons too. Okay? Now, that's the way it is. And it ain't no getting around it. You can't come out from underneath of that unless you come out with the truth. That's the only thing that can set you free. But you will not be. You know what? Let me give you an example of how powerful this thing is. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali, born as an angel, right in the state of North Carolina, 1886. At the age of 16, by him being a holy prophet, found himself in Africa, in Egypt. No parents, no guardians, no political help, nothing. At the age of 16, in Egypt, with the Arab masters, okay? He was there for 10 years. When he came back, he had more knowledge of who we were and our freedom and everything than a Harvard graduate. As far as that, then again, a Harvard graduate would look like a pre-K to him. Okay, so I don't even want to go there. But Noble Drew Ali, when he came back in 1913. He was recognized by the heads of Saudi Arabia. Anytime you go to Saudi Arabia, to the holy city of Mecca, okay, and you go there as a prophet fresh out of Egypt, and all they know is Muhammad, and you're going to come up in there and tell me you a prophet, man, ain't no, he'd be rolling every which way. But anyhow, he was there with the Sultan for over a year. And then he went into Egypt. I mean, not in Egypt, I'm sorry. He went over to India where they recognized him. Okay? And the same outfit, the color picture that I put out there with the prophet, he got that entire outfit. That's not a turban he got on. Okay? That's a what do you call it? A singlets out of India. The whole headdress, the jacket and everything. Okay? And then he came back across Tunis, Tripoli, Algiers, Morocco. Morocco had lost their flag and everything when the Drew Ali come through there. They couldn't fly their own flag for 50 years, the whole time he was a prophet. When he brought everything here to the United States, to his people, the first thing he did, he never sat with a sitting president. Okay? The first thing he did when he got here, he had a meeting, a consultation with a Western Freemason. In fact, he was the head, not only just the head of the Masonic Lodge, he was the head of the Illuminati. He was also running for president of the United States. He wasn't president then, he was president-elect. His name was Woodrow Wilson. And Noble Drew Ali sat in council with him. Why? Because he was the head of the Masonic Order, the Illuminati, running the United States. What good would it do him go to talk to the president? The president ain't running nothing. He went to the people who running it, and that was Woodrow Wilson. Okay. All right. The Woodrow Wilson, after recognizing that everywhere in Noble Drew Ali, when he used the high name, El-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali, and they recognized it, because when you say El-Haj, that means you've been to Mecca. Everybody respects the name, or everybody respects that El-Haj, you know. Malcolm, same thing, all right? So Woodrow Wilson acknowledged him and said, well, look, I know who you are. I respect that, and I believe, but I tell you what, Prophet, for you to teach what you got to them after what I done to them, it would be like putting a pair of pants on a mule. But I tell you what, that's your job. We got your back. Okay? So Woodrow Wilson passed the word on to throughout the whole real Masonic Lodge, and they protected Noble Drew Ali. He never had no problem at the European armies, courts, nothing. The only problem he had was out of his own Masonic-minded people. Had him locked up twice, beat up, and some everything. Okay, they ran the Masons and those who thought they were Negroes in the Moorish Science Temple who thought they were Masons. I'm talking about Charles Kirkman. I can name them all right? And they ran Noble Drew Ali to the soul plane. He said, look, I can work with y'all better on the soul plane. The Masonry was so thick in the minds and hearts of our people, he said it would take 3 or 4 generations later before they could even open up their hearts and minds to what it is that he's bringing them. This is 1929. He had went to the Cuba at the Pan American Conference and spoke with every nation and every tribe representative that's in all of the Americas and all the adjoining islands. Met there in Havana, Cuba, and he met with all of them. El-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali at the prophet, and they acknowledged him. But his own people, the Moorish Temple was full of Masons, and it's so bad that when Noble Drew Ali left the body in 1929, the Masons in the Moorish Science Temple, not only did they tear up the Quran, the 70 chapters in the Quran, they busted it all up to put 48 in. They tore the whole Moorish Science Temple up, Masons. Okay? It was so bad. And now I want you to, I'm not speaking negative about them. I'm giving you the history, okay? That the Moorish Science, for what its purpose is, to uplift fallen humanity, they have not freed one person, not one Moorish American, since Noble Drew Ali, since 1929. That's how bad the Western, and you got some cities got 2 or 3 or 4 temples. You got 520 something temples now, and most of them is in the penitentiaries though. They still got grand sheiks. You can't have one. I can't have one grand sheik no way. But anyway, all these different grand sheiks, different temples, and ain't 2 temples that nowhere can get along with each other because of Western Freemasonry. They think they're Masons. They sit there at the with affairs on, talking about they're Moorish American, but they got the Moroccan flag that sold them into slavery, and the United States flag that bought them. And that's If that don't sound like Mason, tell me what is. Okay?
Wow.
If Mason don't, what is a Mason? He is a slave holder. It's in Noble Drawley's Divine Constitution, right there in Act 6. These names are given to slaves by slave holders, 1779 to 1865, during the time of slavery. The slave holders are Masons. This is why a black man, quote unquote. Now I'm not even gonna call it, because you can't be. Gonna get offended. I hope you got your station down, but you cannot be a man or a woman unless you got a nation to protect you. Okay? If you ain't got your own nation, own government, you cannot be a man or a woman. Simple as that. So when we talk about a black man being a Mason, there ain't no such thing, because there ain't no such thing as a black man. No how. A man, a real man wouldn't be black if you couldn't buy him, pay him. Okay?
Okay.
So, and then you want to turn around and you want to call yourself a Mason. That means that you are now the slave master. You're the slave holder. So how are you going to be a slave black man? Okay, and a Mason, and you're going to be a slave and a slave master at the same time? That's why we're having this class.
Well, now, let me ask you
any question
now.
now? I'm ready.
Okay, well, I'm gonna open up the phone lines. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, the phone lines are open. 310-982-4184. Press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that you have a question or comment. Okay? 310-982-4184. Just press 1 on the
one
phone.
other thing I would like to add to that, because I gave you one side of it, but let me give you the other side. The other side is that as a people, you have one free national name, and that's Moorish American. You've got to accept your one free national name, and that's the only way out of slavery, out of Western Freemasonry, out of all that foolishness. Okay, go.
Now, the death oath. Let me know what that is.
A death oath?
Yeah.
Well, the oath, as I told you in the first place, the oath is nothing but a lie that you're going to tell to yourself. But what it is, it's a commitment that you make when you're in joining the Masonic lodges, that you, before you turn against Masonry, you kill yourself. You kill yourself. You cut your tongue out. You take a knife and cut your guts out and all kinds of stuff before you turn against Western Freemasonry, because you love it so much. And I'm sorry, did I say Western Freemasonry? Before you turn against slavery, you kill yourself because you love slavery so much. That's what the death oath is, okay? And Masonry, every level that you go to, every degree, whether it's 33 in the third or 32nd degree, whatever it is, it ain't but 1 degree anyway, and that's down. But nevertheless, when you whatever degree you take, you got to take an oath. Okay, you got to take a death oath as to what you would do to yourself. Cut off your leg, make a shoe print and a dot, or whatever. But that's what the death oath is. Before you turn against slavery, Western Freemasonry.
Now, they have well, hold on. I got a caller with his hand raised. Let me bring him in before I go back to these. Area code 470. You're on the air.
This is John L. from Atlanta, Georgia. How you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm just fine, my brother.
It's been a while since I've been on the call. I always get some fantastic information every time I join these calls. The last thing he had said about something about the name and being free, I didn't catch that part. What was it again?
That's your free national name, Moorish American. Moorish because you're descendants of the ancient Moabite. American because you're indigenous to the continent of the Americas. Moorish American, that's your free national name. Those people call themselves Negro, black, and colored, or they've been called that. That's their true identity. Not Nuwabia, none of that. Okay?
Okay.
I'm not being disrespectful. Just giving it to you the way the prophet brought it.
I just wanted to be clear on that.
Okay.
When you said about the oath, I understand that because, I asked myself when I was talking about someone about when they get married, I said, how does it make sense to make a promise or commitment to a woman and not to her, but to give someone else authority over you to control your relationship with that person? It never made sense to me.
Ooh, you're right.
And so how if you love a woman, that should be between you and her. How you going to say, well, I love you, but that person can determine whether or not we should stay together or not? That whole concept of the slavery concept, I get that. We talk about today, people talk about being free. And I said, the whole idea of being free has to do with being able to do things that you want to do and, that are actually good for you and your people. And we see what's going on right now with this whole concept of wage slavery. See how the wealth disparity has gone so crazy, so lopsided, where you got people that have money sitting on the side that they never, ever, ever will be able to spend, but you got to let people starving to death. And they accept it. But listen, I don't know what time this call's over. We had talked once before, and I had lost your number, and I really need to get a chance to talk to you after this call because we got some things that I've just got to talk to you about.
Okay, great. Well, Tarhaka, he'll be sure you have the number before it's over with.
Okay, all right.
I know that, but another good thing about this call, I can make the announcement that we are now at the United Nations.
Okay, well, we've got a program also we're working with. I don't know if you remember the African Union when they designated in 2012 when they designated us as the 6th region of Africa. They said those 20 seats at the table. So we're put together a network. We've set together the whole platform of those 5 legacy projects, including the global resources for all of the. Let's see what it is here.
Okay. One thing I like about the African Union is the fact that Morocco is not in it.
Exactly. It's the only one that's not a member.
Thank you.
And so they set this 50-year plan. They set out a 50-year plan for what they want for Africa, and it includes bringing all the Africans together. There are some of the countries that don't really like this idea. Those are the Francophone countries. It's kind of crazy.
Guess what? Let me help you out with this part. What do you think will happen with the African Union now that you have the Moorish Americans, all 60 millionaires, to make the whole circle complete? Well, that is the African Union, when we're all there together.
That's the game changer.
Right, because it's all nations, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Everybody's a nation but us.
Exactly.
Until now.
That's where we are right now, because that's the big thing.
Be sure you get the number, okay?
I got to get it, brother.
Okay.
Okay. You want me to give him this number over the air?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everybody,
okay.
It's on our website anyway, so just go and give it to them.
Okay. The number to dial is 434-676-1555. 434-676-1555. Did you get it, brother?
I got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, now,
I've got another call waiting.
Huh?
So I got another call waiting on me that I've got to go to.
Okay,
I got to be on another call. But I want to tell people about your call.
Ahead.
I want to tell people about this call. They need to be on this one, at from now on at 7 o'clock as well. But I'll reach out to you after this other call so we can go ahead and talk about things, all right? Peace and blessings, brother. Thank you so much for the information.
And thank you.
Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the phone lines are open. So if you got a question, press 1 on your phone. Number to dial, 310-982-4184. Press 1. Now, Grandmaster Chairman, you just stated that you are at the United Nations now. Could you give us a breakdown on what all that means?
Well, what it means is that Noble Drew Ali gave us specific instructions in the Quran. He said, come and link yourselves with the family of nations. That is the United Nations. In fact, when you look at it from a divine level, when Noble Drew Ali left the body in 1929, after he had been to the Pan American Conference in Havana, Cuba, there on the soul plane, he created what is now known as the United Nations. And he created it there so that his people, us, now would have a place to link ourselves with the family of nations. That's why it's there. In fact, so much so, when I was there in 2007, the delegation from Geneva, Switzerland, they were so happy to receive the Declaration, Proclamation, the whole package. They said, oh, my goodness, you got everything we need. We're so glad to have you. So we've been waiting for you for 60 years, and they hadn't been around quite 60 years at that time. But they said the only thing you need is for you to go back and formulate a government from amongst yourselves and bring us back a tally. Those were the two things, and that's what we did. And we wasn't able to complete that until this year. In fact, just about a month or so ago, where we have enough soldiers now that's ready to make a stand. I told you that,
okay.
Man. And also we be able to create a census, and that census shows exactly who and how we got 60 million of us here in the Americas, head for head.
Wow.
Okay. Whether certificate or you got a so-called criminal record, or single moms, or you've been to college, school, you got a Social Security, we got you.
So now you had to turn the census over to them, and they are.
Oh yeah. Every nation has a census. Yeah.
Okay. Now the census it gives the exact number of Moorish Americans in our case, and that fits the criteria for nationhood.
Exactly.
To be recognized in as a nation. Now, what about media coverage? Does that play a part in there, or they want to try to keep that a secret?
Oh, no. We should be getting a call, the affirmation, I'll say any day now. Let me put it that way. I think it would definitely be before the end of the year, so it'll be this month. And when we go there, then that's where we go, because we've got our representatives, our delegation already. We're ready to go. Okay. The thing about it is that now what you're talking about, the media, that is number one. Once we have been accepted and recognized, this is the master word. Once we are recognized as a nation of people, we own the Americas, point blank.
Right.
Europe, well, they're now known as the United States. No, they do not own this. We do. We had when George Washington, was that his name? No, was it? No, Christopher Columbus. That's what his name. Yeah, when he discovered America, there was 50 million of us using it then. I don't know what was wrong with him. But anyhow, our main job when we get once we get accepted and recognized as Moorish America, as a nation of people, our first job is in Act 6. Our first job as the media is to educate our people, all 60 million of them, okay? And we've got to do it in such a way. I like the way you use the word media, because we got one of our tour departments in the government has media, okay? That's it. And we will have not only our own television shows, but every frequency, every media outlet that's possible, we will have complete access to it, okay? Because our whole thing then will be education. I mean, even the 7 million or so that we have that's on lockdown, and another 13 million that's on paper, Oh, no. Those two have got to be educated, because there's not, believe this or not now, there's not one person that's on lockdown right now, on paper, whatever, that has been judiciously, accused by they haven't committed no crime. Because
the crime has been committed against them.
Had them as a slave on the birth certificate, and you cannot take property to court. Okay. I know you know about that court thing. Throughout the world, you trees are property, dogs are property, cars are property. You don't find them in court. They want the owner.
Show them.
Okay. So what you're doing with black people in the courtroom, that's because they extended slavery into the court system, because the United States has never been without its slaves. They don't know how to function without slaves. That's like to answer the question directly, what do the slave master do when he has no more slaves?
Oh, boy.
Okay, let me ask. Wait. What does the United States do? There ain't no more Negroes or colored black people.
Right.
Bye. See you, and wouldn't want to be you. Okay?
I got one more caller with his hand raised at area code 908. I'm going to open up the line.
Okay.
Area code 908. You on the air. Hello.
How are you?
Fine.
Good. I'm listening to your guests, and I'm confused. Now, I'm confused about what your guest is saying. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep referring to you as guest. Can you say your name again? I came on late. My phone, while I was listening to you, shut off, so I had to dial back.
Oh, what you should say, Dr. Pleasant Bay. Pleasant, just like
Bay.
Okay.
Dr. Pleasant Bay. Yes.
I have a high name, but we'll let Pleasant do for right now. Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm not clear on what's going on so far as being Moorish American. You're saying, I know I'm not black. I know I'm not here in America. I'm not African, Afro, or colored, or whatever, Negro. When you're saying that we are Moorish Americans, is this something that is supposed to happen in the year 2000? You're going before the United Nations. Did I hear correct?
Yes, you did.
Okay. All right. Now, when this happens, any legal proceedings that I have in court, what will happen to them? Because I have 6 lawsuits in court right now from two separate cases.
Okay. I've got a serious one. Mine is about $3 trillion. But anyway, when it comes down to the debts, then the United States has got to pay all the debts and pay with compound interest. These are the words of Noble Drew Ali. So the debts will be paid. The money is there, not in the United States. It's in England. In Europe. Okay, but you will be paid.
So you're telling me the cases that I have pending right now, I'll be paid for them?
Of course.
Okay.
I've got a case pending too, because they done jacked my book and they had no business messing with it. I won't even speak about that right now. Okay.
Okay. Now, when I say I have cases pending, one is for a car accident, which 2 other cases are attached to, and the other one is for a slip and fall on black ice, which 2 other cases are attached to that. And you're telling me that this will be paid through some funds coming from Great Britain?
No, what I'm saying is that the debts that is owed to you will be compensated. It will be paid to you. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
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 I mean, you know, we're not talking. We're talking like zillions. Okay.
Okay. Now the case.
In
okay.
silver.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying in gold and silver.
Okay. Now, the case is almost 2 years old. Will this hold my cases up?
No. Your case is your case. It may seem like it's an individual thing, but you could multiply this by the millions. Okay. For example, your original case started with your birth certificate.
Okay.
And they owed you.
You talking about the straw man?
Oh no! Please don't use that word. But
okay.
I know.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No. What I'm saying is this. Okay. Shortly after you was born, because we know the great God made you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Okay. But shortly after then, the United States denationalized you and made you property. They owed you subsequently to that in excess between $30 and $33 million a year for every year that you still kicking. Okay?
Okay.
You understand that?
Oh, that's why they want to. That's why they want to get rid of us, so they don't have to pay that debt.
No, sweetheart. No. It's not that bad. Let me tell you what's real bad when you talk about getting rid of us. There are those of us who want to buck and fight and want to stay black. Well, the United States has got pretty close now to, it's over 900 concentration camps throughout the continent and Hawaii, okay? And these concentration camps are supported by millions they got 4 patches of millions of what they call disposable coffins that can hold up to 2 and 3 bodies at a time.
Up to 6.
Also have trains on a railroad track by FEMA that is over 3,000. That's brand new with nothing but shackles and chains in them for human cargo. No first class, no coach, none of that. To take you to the concentration camp for all those who do not want to be free and they want to raise sand. And they would love to do that because the more people they can make fertilizer out of, the less they have to pay. I wasn't going to go with that part, but you asked for it.
Okay, well then that's extermination. I mean, that's what I was saying, them wanting to get rid of us so that they don't have to pay that debt. And you're saying, no, that's not correct?
Oh, no, it's
because
not.
When
there's those that don't want to get paid. You see the difference?
Okay. Okay, yes, I see the difference.
There are those of us that they'd rather die and stay black. And, hey, there you go.
You know, every time you go ahead.
How long now? This is going to happen in the year 2016, and what do I have to do? I mean, because this is my first time tuning in to this blog. I came across it on Facebook. Excuse me, and but I hear people. I don't know if you're familiar with Brother Ron on Beverly D's Blog Talk.
Oh, I'm familiar with a lot of brothers and sisters that be on the different blog talks and all kinds of media.
Okay, well, so I'm not familiar with what you're talking about so far as Moorish American, but I've been interested enough to want to follow to get more information on it whenever I hear the topic come up.
Okay. Well, basically what we're talking about, sis, is freedom. In one word. Freedom. And for a lack of a better word right now, freedom is not a game. This is real. So what I want you to do, you got the number to Tarhaka. You can stay in touch with him. And we also got a website, the MoorishAmericanGov.org. We got other information where you can attest to, and you can be right here at the helm.
Where is at the helm?
You.
No, when you're saying right here, is there a location? Because if you have lectures, I'd like to attend them. I'm presently in Ohio. I mean, I just came up here from Atlanta, but I'm going to be here in Ohio for the next 4 months.
Okay.
So, is there anywhere that you have lectures?
Yeah, you just get the phone numbers and everything from Tarhaka, okay?
Okay, now that number that you gave out, the last 4 digits, 1555. What is that number?
That's right here at headquarters.
Okay, so don't call that number.
Of course you can. You can call it. I'm right here.
Okay. So then that would be you.
Of course.
Okay, so then I would call that, and I mean maybe you can guide me through this to let me know what paperwork I have to get, if there is any.
Oh. Well, see, let me give you the real key to that, sis. Okay. Paperwork, most of that for the better part is like a lot of game plan. We don't.
Okay.
It's not a game. Okay. Right now, what we're concerned in is the truth. You learning who you are and what to do with you after you find out who you are, okay?
Okay.
I mean, what good? If I were to give you $3 billion right now, okay, if you didn't know who you were, I could just about tell you what you do with it because you don't know where to go. You don't have your own country, your own nothing, so you're going to do the same thing other people are doing, okay? We got people like Oprah Winfrey, she's up in there as far as money is concerned, but she's still a slave. Okay? You're going to be a free woman, and it ain't going to be that long. Okay? You just call me, all right?
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to call you a student minister already.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome, sis. Thank you for calling in. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the number to dial is 310-982-4184. 310-982-4184. To register with the Moorish American government, go to www.moorishamericangov.org. That's moorishamericangov.org. And Grand National Chairman, you was about to say before I brought the guest in that it was something you was about to tell us, and could we take up from where? What was it you were about to say to us?
Oh, I don't know. We were covering so many subjects. We were talking about the United Nations. That's about the last area I remember. Whatever. I'm ready.
Okay. The phone line is open, but I do have another question.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at this thing, and could you describe for us just what is the African God man, and what's buried in the coffin that the Masons are dealing with?
Well, the coffin is really a political structure that was created by the European Masons here in what is now known as the United States to bury our people in, and that they would always remain property. This coffin is made up of constitutional law, like the 14th and 15th Amendment, that makes you think that you're something that you're not. It makes you think that you're a citizen. But the United States being a corporation ever since 1871, it can't have citizens. Corporations cannot have citizens. Only recognized nations and governments can have citizens. Okay, so with that in mind, you have to give accountability for yourself. That's where most Americans come in at. As a nation, as a government of people, we have our own flag that's well over 100,000 years old. We've got our own everything. It belongs to us to do our ancient forefathers. We can trace ourselves and everything. We just got to teach our people. That's our first obligation, is to teach.
Well, Lord knows I've been doing that.
Yeah, I got to give you shoulder to shoulder with us right here on the front line. So thank you.
Well, we got to get it done, and somebody's got to do it. And so we, I'm not the only one. We got a lot of brothers that's out there on the front line. Masonry thing. I mean, we got to wake up to this, because this is, I mean, it's bad enough. And the way I see it, and this is just the way I see it, the bottom line. I look at the Constitution of the United States of America, and for the life of me, I'm trying to figure out how can the Constitution of the United States benefit me when it was written by Masons that were slave owners at the time they was writing it. And they've already wrote me down as 3/5 of a human being. So how can I start hollering about a Constitution with them facts in place? That bothers me. I look at it and I hear a lot of brothers say, well, the Constitution, this and that. It got to do with you.
Well, for one thing, Brother Minister, let me put it to you this way. You don't stand a snowball's chance in the United States Constitution. I don't care how you look at it, okay? It was designed by slaveholders for their slaves. Every part about the United States, I don't care if it's the car industry, the education system, however you look at it, it could not function without slaves. It don't know what to do, okay? And if you don't believe me, wait until the UN, we sit up there and we come back and see what happened then, okay? Now, when it comes down to the Constitution, that's why Noble Drew Ali, he gave us our own Constitution. We have a divine Constitution, which goes along with our nature. When the question is asked, the very first question in the questionnaire say, who made you? The answer is the great God. Well, if the great God made you, the fruit can't fall too far from the tree. Okay? I don't remember pears falling off of apple trees. Okay?
Never seen it.
There you go. So if the great God made you, then you too must be God. But the way we was raised up under slavery, they don't want us to ever think that we have the omnipotence of being God. But we are. Okay? And you got to start acting like it, thinking like it, being like it.
Well, we're gonna have to. What you think we're gonna have to do with these brothers and sisters of African descent who insist on believing that they're Masons or can be a Mason?
Well, I put it to you this way: I think that because we be having these kind of classes, they're going to be highlighted with, full view, all on the television and everything, okay? Round the clock, 24/7. And those who, when the time comes, and those who wants to rear up and raise sand and want to protest and put up a kind of fight and thing, let's look at since you're talking about the Constitution, let's look at the President Obama, because it was prophesied that all this would take place under his administration. Drew Ali said that what would happen when you have an Asiatic for president and a European for vice president. So whoever thought it, okay? So that means that Obama's taking place right now. Okay, let's just say now, Obama's got what, about a year or so left in office? Okay. Now let's look at it from this point of view. Let's say out of 60 million of us, there's about 7 million that wants to buck. They want to. No, they're going to have it their way because it's going to be a Black American Day. Okay, they're just going to have their way. And there's all kinds of confusion they're creating in the different ghettos and areas of, habitation or whatever the case it be. They're having problems on the highway. They're throwing out things down the city blocks and messing up stores, and they may be even rioting. What happens then is that the Constitution of the United States will become instantly suspended. There will not be no office of the president. Obama will not be the president of the United States. He would then become the commander-in-chief, okay?
Of the military.
Now, once he's the commander-in-chief, that position is held steadfast if it takes 5 years from now, okay, before they can go back to being president again, until they get rid of that civil unrest.
Right.
Okay? But the Moorish American government will be in place. Why? Because we have the burden of the future of the nations on our shoulders. It ain't just us we got to save. We got to save especially the African nations. Every last one of them is still colonized. They can't get free without us. Okay? We are just that. We're the ones that bring in the whole new era called the era of Emmanuel, which means the age of God in man. That's where we're at now, and we're the one bringing. Noble Drew Ali was the one that brought in the whole new era, and we've got to enforce that, and we will. It's not something that we're doing it because we like to do it. That's what it's got to be anyway.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of listeners that need to get this information. The national conference call number, I would like to, if you tell me what that is, and I will put it in the chat room. Type it in.
Oh, okay. Yes, area code 712-775-7035. And I have an access code that comes along with the 6 numbers, and that's 300471. Hit the pound sign and you're in. That's 7 days a week from 6:30 to 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Check in. And classes, all classes where we got to teach our people 7 days a week. So all classes start at 7 o'clock. East Coast time.
7 p.m.
Yep,
Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
Okay. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 712-775-7035. Access code 300471 pound. 300471 pound. And I just put that in the chat room. And the phone lines are still open. If we have a question or comment, now's the time to press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that you got something to say. And I'll open up the line. And now's the time. We have gotten the history of this Freemason thing. And some very important information has been relayed to us this evening. And let's see, we got a caller with his hand raised.
Brother Minister, before you open up the door right now, let me finish. Bring this. When you go to the website, MoorishAmericanGov.org, when you go there, there's also a section, 7 publication, where you can buy your literature, all the literature that you need, your Quran, which was brought by the Prophet, the Book of the 7 Seals. That's there, and we got it in chronological order. It's the original one that the Noble Drew brought to his people with all 70 chapters, the whole 9. You got the 101s, 102s. That's $5. The different things, including your Moorish American flag, your Grand National Emblem seals, all kinds of. That's yours, and it's because you're free people, and it belongs to you. These things belong to your ancient forefathers and the things that's going into the future, too, as far as like the seven seals. If you really want to see what it's about, those of you who know about the Bible, you can go to Revelations 10 and read about the seventh angel. That's Drew Ali, and you are the people. Islam. Thank you.
Okay. Now, that's 7sealpublications.com or 7sealspublication.com.
Yeah, that's inside the Morris American Gov website anyway, so either way you go.
Oh, okay.
7seals.com or 7seal Publication, it'll take you there anyway.
Okay. Well, we got a caller with his hand raised at area code 410. I'm going to open up the line. 410, you're on the air.
Islam.
Can you
hear me, man?
Come on.
Islam. Islam, this is Divine Minister Anwar Guwali Il from Baltimore.
Yay!
Praise, bro.
Sunday school teacher.
Islam Grand National Chairman.
All right.
First I rise, giving first praise to the great God Allah and honor to his prophets and honor to the last prophet in these days and time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I give honor to the Moorish American government. Grand National Chairman, could you elaborate on these two dates, 18, because you mentioned the Constitution and you also mentioned about the gold and the silver. The year 1871 and the year 1933. Could you elaborate on that briefly?
1871 was when because the United States, when it was a country, it was supposed to have brought an end to slavery. They wrote the 13th Amendment in 1865, and that was supposed to abolish slavery, but they had a catch to it. So they had an exception to the abolishment, except for those who were duly convicted of a crime. That was a no-no. So that later, and 2 years later, they wrote the 14th and the 15th Amendment, and started, which is nothing but it brought back slavery under another name. It was still the same system of slavery because, as I said before, the United States had never been without its slaves. And so the 14th and 15th Amendment was an extension of the slave trade that they should have abolished, like England did, like the southern states did, like many other countries that abolished slavery. But the United States, they tried to get real slick with the Masonic thing. As a result of that, they passed the 15th Amendment in 1870. 1 year later, 1871, the great God punished the United States and took away their sovereignty as a government. And they became a corporation back under the British rule, just like they was when they were the colonies. And that's where it is to this very day. The United States is not a country. It cannot have citizens. It is a corporation. And a corporation, being the business that it is, an organization, if you will, it belongs to the UK. That's why they got to take to some water. In 1933, this was an extension that brought about the punishment of when it come down to the finances and the government. Well, it actually went under. And I'm trying to think of the M word now. I'm looking for. But anyway, they went under because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali had prophesied this not the Great Depression, no. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali had prophesied that the United States was going to fold under there, and told the Moors that you had the money in the banks, you better get it out of there. But so by the time 1933 hit, they went under, and that's what they became fully blown as a corporation by the time it was over with it, which also created about 10 years later, I think it was World War II. But they folded under such a dynamic thing. When it comes to the money thing, they lost so much power at this time that they had completely became dependent upon external countries and governments. and that's the way it is. The United States it's really just it's like a balloon. It's just there. It's mostly just a military showcase. But as far as being a government country and with the banking system and everything, like all other governments have, it's not like that. In fact, if you sneeze hard, that little bit would be gone too. So we have to come into existence as a people.
So to this very day, they pretty much using people as property and collateral.
Exactly. That's why the people are on Wall Street. They're selling the people on Wall Street. That's where the slave market is, selling you by your birth certificates and everything.
Islam. Thank you, Grand National Chairman.
All right, thank you for taking in, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you too.
All right, my brother. And I'm gonna see if I can give the listening audience a breakdown, and maybe some of this might make sense. The United States is a corporation, and it operates on a continuous series contract called contract law. It will continue to have great debacle, and the next big debacle will be the credit bust. Now, if you notice, when you go into a grocery store, most people are using plastic today. Everything they're paying for is on your credit card, or your Visa, your MasterCard, and very few people have cash. And there is no money. We only have debt notes. But they're constantly getting people to place their labor on these cards. And when this thing collapsed, it's like we had the gold seizure in 1933, and then they issued the debt notes and stuff, but there was only so much money in circulation, so much cash, and everything is done by computer. You have go to the bank and say, well, look, I need $30 million to buy real estate or development, and you got good standing with the bank. They say, well, okay, and they type it in and transfer the data from one computer to another. But there's no money truck put in nowhere to give you no cash to get no back no $30 million. Everything's done on numbers. So when this thing falls apart, it behooves us to have some tangible materials that we can actually use instead of being caught off guard. I try to tell people that for every $100 you get, that $10 should be put to the side in cash, and if you got the majority of your assets on your in your bank and you have access to your credit card, you take that out of there and put that somewhere else so you can take some of your monies and purchase some tangible assets, gold. And, of course, the bottom line is being able to grow your own food so that you can withstand this thing, because there are a lot of people that just simply is not aware of the history of the United States and where we are financially, and the fact that everything operates on contract. Even if you go to jail, they give you documentation where they clearly have you labeled as black. Now, if you got a piece of paper in the United States operate on contract and the jail is giving you this document, well, you have evidence that you've been denationalized. That's a lawsuit in itself. So I just want to throw that in there. If any of that makes sense to us. And I try to get people to understand this. We'll be hosting the Moorish Summit down here in Jacksonville on the 19th and 20th of this month, and I'll be speaking. And this time I want to show them some other things that is going on that a lot of people are not aware of. That's been occurring for years and years and years, right up under our nose. And so I think that the more information comes out, the more knowledge we get. Sometimes we have to say the same thing over and over and over for the individual or the person or people wake up and say, well, wait a minute. I'm gonna pay attention now. But anyway, Grandmaster Chairman, I think we still got some confusion among people about the Moors and polygamy and this kind of business. So could you give us the historical foundation of polygamy and what it's all about? I mean, what is the real truth involved in it?
I guess it's not strange that you asked that because this week we're into the chapter dealing with the marriage laws of man and wife by Noble Ali. And that was one of the questions that has come up. And it's a good thing because, number one, we have got to stop becoming so accustomed to what the United States idea of marriage laws. Every nation have their own marriage laws. Every government, every nation there is got their own marriage laws. Negroes don't have marriage laws. They have always gone to the master and got permission to be with, May or Susie May or whatever the case may be. They go downtown and they get get a marriage license, and then it's on. But see, again, that is not. This is how they do their property. Okay. Now, I know it's going to sound sort of rough, but none of the marriages mean a thing that took place during the time of slavery, because you were not a people, you didn't have your own government, didn't have your own nation, and you was who they wanted you to be, whether et cetera, et cetera. Now, when it comes down to polygamy, this has always been, and it's throughout every holy book, sacred book you can that's on the planet. All right, but polygamy, the laws of polygamy, where that one man can have multiple wives, has always been there as a healing element for a recovering nation, a nation that has suffered either war or famine, disease, slavery, whatever the case may have been, that have caused a great disparity amongst the genders. In other words, all of a sudden now you got more, you're always going to have more women than men, that's natural. But now, because of this slavery or because of this war, for example, you got 13.6 single moms here amongst our people in the United States. And the thing about it is, out of 60 million people, that 13.5 million single mom, they couldn't have a husband monogamously if they wanted one, because the men ain't there. Okay? So the reason why is because the men have been taken off the count. All right? What little bit of the left that ain't either in jail, in the grave, their own drugs, the weakened in creek water, okay? Out of the multiple men, it would take you, I say, you might end up out of the total amount of the 20% of men that you have, you might get 5% real men. There's something to work with. Everybody else is either in jail, their spirit has been broken down so much that they don't know whether they're man or woman. It just goes on and on and on. But the hard thing about all this took place during a time of slavery. Polygamy now has come into the picture as a healing element that can be used within a nation so that it can heal itself from within itself. It's a natural healing element, polygamy, meaning that one man would, and there's laws, okay, one man take, for example, like myself, I have polygamous marriage myself. We've been together 30-something years, not 40. But anyway, the thing about it is that you have to select from those women who have already got children, but they don't know where the father is, or the father is incapacitated, or he ain't on the scene. So you got to select from those women whose children have been orphaned first, not the fair damsel in distress, not, fine-looking little youngster. No. You don't choose among them first. They are government women. Okay? So you have to select from those women that has got children, but the father is no longer on the scene. And that's when the real father step in and takes over and begin to build the nation from there. Because every nation is no stronger than its family units. You see? So each individual family is what it takes to put together collectively, and they are the one that builds the nation. And so when you have the polygamous laws, these are, forget about the Western concept, Morris, please, because if you think about it from the way that the European wants you to think about polygamy, it's all about sex, flesh, jumping up and down. Oh, I wonder which wife he going to jump up and down in the night. No, that is not polygamy. If you know anything about marriage at all, the last thing on your sex don't make no marriage. I don't give a darn who it is. If that's what it is to take you together, you ain't gonna be. A dog can do that. You ain't gonna be together long, no how. So our marriage laws gives the provision to let the husband know his responsibility, that the wife know her responsibility, the father know his responsibility, as well as the mother. So these things and the sons and daughters, you can't have none of this in slavery. You cannot have a husband. You can't have a wife. There's not a man, woman amongst you. No sons, daughters. If you don't believe me, Tarhaka, he can tell you about them courts. The first thing they do is take your little child and call him a little black bastard, and next thing you know, he's a ward of the state. You go in there talking about child support. You come out there. You was a mother when you went in there, but you ain't going out. Now you are a guardian that you got to watch over the wards of the state, who are the benefits of the court system, because they own your yes also. But now polygamy is used to heal the nation of people that has been, and this is ancient stuff. Who was it? Lot had to go through the same thing. And they say, well, he had sex with his daughters, and his wife turned him into a stone. No, that wasn't what it was. It was polygamy, because the people that was in Sodom and Gomorrah had got so bad that they lost the government, lost the nation, and he had to rebuild the nation from within itself. That's where they said daughters and stuff, but it wasn't like real life daughters like that, no. But it was polygamy. So that's throughout all the divine records. And that's what we have to use as Moorish Americans, too, because our men, it just ain't there. And you're going to have the good brothers, you're going to have to get your yes together, your act together, and support these, and be ready to be the father of the children that you didn't father, but you the father now. I know what it's like. Believe me, I had 37 children, man. Woo, I could tell you some stories you wouldn't believe. But anyhow, that's the real deal about polygamy. So don't look at it as a sex thing. Look at it as what it is. It's something that nations use, especially under the Islamic banner, to heal itself and to rebuild itself from disasters like slavery, war, famine, disease, anything that may cause, let's say, great harm between the genders and things that the nation has suffered. Okay?
Okay. Well, you did an excellent job giving us the breakdown on that, and I don't think this broadcast will be complete unless we get an update on the Moorish Science Temple of America. What's the scoop on that?
Okay, the Moorish Science Temple of America, number one, as I just pointed out, that it's been completely engulfed by Masonry. Now, this is not to speak negative, because just like anything else, they don't know any better. All right, I was there. I've been, I can tell you some real horror stories. The thing about it is that once we have completed our mission, because, see, the duty of a prophet is to save nations. That's key. Every prophet, they got the same duty: save nations, not build organizations like the Prophet Noble Ali built the Moorish Science Temple. but he did it as an education thing because his people was buried under the confines and laws of the United States. So where else could he build an educational system but to teach them how to get from underneath of the yoke and law? Okay? That's what the temple was for. But if you read the Divine Constitution, in Act 5, he says that the Moorish Science Temple is a lawfully chartered organization. It can never be nothing else but. Now, organizations are never nations. They're never governments. Okay? So, in other words, so you have the Moorish American government. You got the Divine Constitution of what? Moorish Science Temple, but of Moorish America. What in the world, a temple or organization, if the prophet would leave it there, what he did, he said, look, these are your general laws. Your supreme laws, fulfilling the duty of a prophet, will be handed down to you around the year 2000. And that's where we're at now. That's where we're at the United Nations now, okay?
Okay. Now, the Masonry is throughout the entire system.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, but it's got to be conquered, though, Mo. In other words, every temple, and that's what we're going to do as a government. The Moorish Science Temple will be coming under our what is called education department. We call it Education and Truth, and we will have our educational systems under the science, because the Moorish Science Temple is just leave off the word temple, and you have Moorish Science is a thinking system for every Moorish American citizen, period. You have to think according to science. Why? Because science is the knowledge of history and relies upon the God that you have within yourself, how to generate yourself and teach your children, okay? We don't know what to teach our children as black people, okay? But as Moorish Americans, we got a whole history and future to teach our children. So when it comes down to Masonry, our people have got to learn how to let it go. Just like you let slavery go, let the slave master go. It's like being a Muslim. Somewhere along the line, you stop eating pig. You got to let the pig go. Well, like so, when you come into being a free person, a free man or free woman, you got to let the slave go. You don't deal with slavery no more. You don't think like a slave. You don't do the thing that black people do no more. Because now you're responsible for the life of your sons and daughters, your neighbors, everything, okay? So that's the difference of being a nation of people with your own government.
Okay. Well, now I tell you what. Now, that's a very tough job. I get a lot of people that call me on a regular basis, and they're like, I tried to contact the Moorish Science Temple, and I can't never get anybody. And I always tell them, well, look, go to this website, and I give them the www.moorishamericangov.org website, and register there. And the number that's there, dial the number, and so that you can actually reach somebody. But when I hear brothers and you know they tell me, well, I'm a Mason, I don't attack them, but it's really sad, because we got brothers and sisters who actually believe that people of African descent can be Masons. But what I would like for you to do, if you would, could you give us the history of Noble Drew Ali inside the Moorish Science Temple, and how does the government?
Yeah, the Noble Drew Ali is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple. In other words, when he first built, after he left with conversation with Woodrow Wilson and had the authority to educate, teach his people, and save his people, then the first thing he did in Newark, New Jersey, he built what is called the ancient Canaanite temple. he would later change that name 5 times. And the last, it would become the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Holy Temple of Science of the World, Moorish Science Temple, Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated. Okay? And this was over a period of time from 1913 to 1928. And what he did it that way because this was a system that he had to build in order to educate, to teach his people how to come out of slavery and into the free national status of their own free national name. So under the Religious Act, Freedom of Religious Act of the United States Constitution, he built the Moorish Science Temple as a civic and religious organization. Now, you may ask, why would he do it that way? Well, because the people was buried under the confines and laws and jurisdiction of the United States. Where else could he build? That's where he found them at. So he had to, if you're going to dig up a body, you got to go to the grave where the body is at. And that's where it was. So he had to get his people from underneath that yoke and law with that entity. But he told them that this is just my general law. The supreme laws, meaning dealing with the nation of people, will not be handed down until later when you become just that, a nation of people. But you can't understand what a nation of people has got to go through when you haven't even learned how to be an organization yet. So learn how to be an organization and come from underneath the political yoke and laws of the United States, where every Moorish Science Temple right now belongs to the United States, every last one of them, okay? And the reason why, because that's where Noble Drew founded it at. And everyone has got to register annually within the state of the United States, wherever they may be doing business. Okay, they got to register annually, once a year. They got to. They may have conventions. I think about 6 or 7 of them, different groups have a convention in Chicago every year. But the thing about it is that they're still under that yoke and law of the United States. So, but they are there for one purpose and one purpose only: learn how to be a people, a free government. Learn how to be a Moorish American. These are laws that does not apply to colored people, Negroes, and other slave mentality. You've got to learn how to be free, get from underneath of that. Now, if you're thinking that you will always be that a Moorish American, a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, is a Moorish American, and that's it, you are so wrong, because you will never be free like that. No. A member of the Moorish Science Temple of America is just that. He is she is a member of a religious organization, period, that belongs to the United States. You cannot be free under your own free national name and government and nation while you're under the yoke and laws of another nation. It don't work that way nowhere on earth. And not only that, since we are dealing with law, and I love that we're Tarhaka, we deal with that law, but you'll never see a government in the courts of another government. Okay? I repeat that. You will never see a government in the courts of another government. So the Moorish American ain't got no business in the courts of the United States, because that's a United States government. The United States government don't stand a snowball tail and come up in here in the Moorish American government talking what? No, we ain't no organization. We don't belong. See, one government can own millions of organizations, but not one organization can own a government. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Well, what is the structure and the type of government of the Moorish American government? Could you give us a breakdown on that?
Oh, yeah. You got about 7 different kinds of governments. Dictatorships, all kinds of stuff. But ours is a theocratic government. It's called a theocracy. And the reason why you call it theocracy, this is the first form of government was a theocracy, or a theocratic government, was the first form of government ever on earth. It started with Adam, okay? And by that, it means that it's built like a pyramid. At the very top, the very peak, you got the great God right there, okay? I'm talking about, you can say Allah, you can call whatever you want to, okay? But just don't call it Jesus, please. Anyway, the great God is right there at the top. In the middle, you got prophets and all the holy books, angels, prophets, and holy books, right there. Okay, immediately underneath the pyramid, that's the great God. Okay, now at the base of the pyramid is humanity. Okay, that's the theocratic government because one draws strength from the higher level. Okay, we as a humanity or the nations or governments, we draw our strength from the prophets, from the holy books, from the angels, and these kind of directions. They got theirs from up top, from the great God, and that's where we get ours from too. That's what it's called theocracy.
Well, let me ask you this, because I received a phone call last week from a Caucasian gentleman. He wanted to know if Europeans or Caucasians can be ancient African Moors.
Could it be what now?
An ancient African Moor. He wanted to know if he could be a Moor.
No. Now he can take citizenship and be a citizen of North America, but he's still going to be a European because that's his descendant nature. Nobody can change the man's descendant nature unless his power is greater than the great God. Okay. No one can change that. If you're a Chinese, I don't care how much time you spend in Germany, you're still going to be a Chinese. Okay? So just because you're in a country, it does not change your national origin. As far as Europeans are concerned, that might be another class, but we're the one that made them anyhow. Made them right there in Egypt.
Okay. Well, that's hard for a lot of people to digest, but I know we got black, and the next shade is brown, and the next shade is red, and the next shade, they taught this in elementary school, is yellow, and then the final stage, devoid of carbon, what they're calling melanin, high concentrations of carbon that make the skin dark and is protective from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. It's interesting to see the gods, the people of ancient African descent, trying to do everything they can to get away from the most blessed gift that they were born with. It never ceased to amaze me. Anyway, I don't want to get down and all that, but what I would like for you to give us a breakdown of exactly what happened step by step when Noble Drew Ali attended the Panamanian Conference one more time.
Oh man, that was magnanimous there. What happened was he came with a delegation of his of memberships from his Moor Science Temple at the time, and the main person he had with him at the time was Brother Charles Kirkman Bey, and Charles Kirkman Bey he spoke, I think it was something about like 70-something languages. It was just phenomenal. It was well over 60. It might have been 80, but he spoke a lot of languages, and he was the interpreter for the prophet, because at the Pan American Conference there was different families and tribes and nations and languages. You know, the Attorney General for the United States was there to represent the United States. Every Mexico was represented. Every island, every nation, Chile, all of them, was Cuba. Well, naturally, Cuba was there, but every country and island was represented, and so Noble Drew Ali, he went as, and when the good thing about this, I was doing my research when I first got into the movement. I was looking for him under the Noble Drew Ali, and I could not find anything in the record, but this is in the early 70s, about Noble Drew Ali being in Havana, Cuba. And the reason why, because the Moors were keeping it a secret, his high name, which was El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, this was the name that he used when he was dealing with national and international people. He never used the name Noble Drew Ali, except for when he was dealing with the Moorish Science Temple and his own people and local stuff. Okay, but when it comes down to other nations and international stuff, he was people that had international, wisdom about themselves, that he would use his high name, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. So this is what it was, and he let everybody know that the Moorish America was here, and everybody gave him honor. Every tribe, every nation, they were so happy to see him. Because when he came, he didn't come representing the Moorish Science Temple. He came as the main. I'm trying to think of the word. Start with the letter P. My mind's jumping time right now. But he was like the citizen or the leader of the Moorish American government, and this is what he and his whole delegation, Charles Kirkham Bay, Pearl. And he had several, about 8 people with him while he was there in Havana, Cuba. In fact, I wrote a thing on that. I think it's to deal with the 7th ADAPT degree, and I'll be willing to, send it to you so you can pass it out to your audience. Where it gives the whole history of what happened in Havana, Cuba. We got pictures and everything, and also when he was in Atlanta, Georgia, too. When he got Marcus Garvey out the Atlanta penitentiary down there, federal penitentiary down there. Still, yeah, I'll be glad to send it over to you.
Yeah, okay. Now, tell us about the mandate, and what did he do with the mandate? How did that go?
Well, that's because he had represented us as a people, okay, and the delegation gave him the mandate. And the mandate clearly showed that we own the Americas as Moorish American nationals. That's the reason why I was trying to tell the Moors to stop, leaning in other directions, like Washita and New Orleans and whatnot. It sounds good when you go to the UN. It sounds all right, but it don't free you as a people. You got to go by what the theocratic form calls for. Okay. And it calls for your prophet to lead you out of slavery, and that's what if you don't follow that, you're not going to make it. So when it comes down to the mandate, it clearly showed, but he had 5 years to activate it, okay? And it clearly showed that we actually own the Americas. I'm not talking about where the United States is occupied. I'm talking about the America. When I say America, I mean all of it. From the North Pole to the South Pole, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, and all the islands in between, all the Americas. That's our home. That's our territory. And that's what the mandate showed. They got the same mandate right now. When we get up to the UN, the delegates for Geneva, Switzerland, that's when they had it in 2007. That's what they said, we're so glad to see you. But we can't get it until we go back this time. We'll get it now. And that it's the same mandate. But Drew Ali had 5 years to activate it. Okay? And the very next year, he went on to the soul place. Ooh. And that was last.
Everything was put in place.
Yeah. But I'm glad you asked that, though. Oh, man. Yeah, that's the next great thing. You'll see.
Well, I feel like we have to rehearse the who's, where's, what, whens, and whys, and the origin of what's going on, so that people will have a clear and concise understanding in the head. If we deal with the origin of what happened and what led up until the point that we are, then we will have some good solid understanding. So now, what is this about a mandate in Geneva, Switzerland?
Well, Geneva is really the, I guess you could say, the head office for the United Nations. I think that's about the best way to put it. They hold all the access when it comes down to paperwork and document and history of the entire human tree. Okay, this means that if you want to trace yourself, for example, like Malcolm and Farrakhan, a few other people, they went to The Hague, the World Court, and charged the United States with genocide of black people and Negro people and all. But Geneva had the record book, and they looked down a family tree and they couldn't find no Negroes. And other people said, "Well, we believe you, Malcolm. You know, we believe you that this genocide is taking place, but here's the family tree, and we don't have no Negroes on it. What's the name of the people?" And they couldn't tell them. Okay, but we know now that again. That's how important it is to put the other stuff on the side, you know. Now, after we get free, if you want to call yourself Tom, Dick, and Harry, fine, okay? But don't mess around with the Washington stuff now. Get yourself free first. You know, don't fake it. Like, oh, I went to the UN. There's 60 million of them. How come it's still black people everywhere? Why? Let's see what happens when we get to the UN. The real Morris America, and see what happened now, okay? Everybody going to know.
Well, what is interesting to me is I know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a student and with Noble Ali, and John G. Jackson was there, and there were quite a few prominent people that was there. And I'm trying to figure out how, I know that Freemasonry, the plague had got up in there and stuff. But I'm trying to figure out, is Freemasonry inside the Nation of Islam? And what happened with Elijah Muhammad? Because he originally was wearing affairs, and now, what happened with that?
Well, his name was Elijah Poole Bey when he was at the Moorish Science Temple in Detroit. And Noble Drew Ali had told him personally, okay? He knew when the Prophet left the body, and he got tired of them. Elijah Poole Bey got really tired of them Moors playing, and he just started his own thing. But at this time, Farad, who was sent to had been promised by the Sultan, who's in the front of the Quran, he'd been promised by the Sultan that he would send a Quran interpreter to help Drew Ali with his lessons, okay? So that was the reason why Farad was there. But what happened with Farad, he messed around and seen that by him being, that's why me and Arabians don't get along to this day. Well, that's personal. But anyway, Farad, he seen that the Negro was such easy picking. That's why he was easy to influence. And so what him and Elijah did, they got together. Now, bear in mind now, both of these was taught under Noble Drew Ali. They both knew that we was not Negro, black, and colored. They knew that was a no-no. That's the first thing that Elijah did, okay? He called the people black Muslim, and you had to hate the white man. He knew no such thing as a white man, okay? And when you call him white, you call him your God, okay? So he knew that, and he still set up what is called a quote-unquote Nation of Islam. He took the crescent moon and that the prophet brought, which is the last quarter, because we're in the last of the eras of the 12 houses, which means that the cycle age is the last 2,500 years. We're into that right now. Drew Ali brought that in, and that means the crescent moon was in the last quarter. You see, with the 5-point open green star. Elijah took it back to the first quarter where Adam came in and closed the star and had it tilted to the side, because I guess the man was trying to tap dance on one leg, I guess. I don't know. But he knew better. The main point is Elijah knew better. And for Rod, he knew better. Thought he was going to sell some rugs and stuff. He knew better. Both of them. But mainly Elijah Poole Bay, because he definitely knew better. He knew better than try to pull that old preacher degree and that old stuff. He knew better. Okay, so when it come down to the Nation of Islam and they roll up against a Mo, they get tongue tied. They ain't nothing they can say. Okay. Yeah, I've yet to see anyone from the Nation of Islam stand up and have any kind of conversation with a conscious Moor, especially me.
Well, no. I don't think they want to tangle with you. But now we have, because I seen one of the brothers, Brother Khalid Muhammad, and he was on stage with videos on YouTube where he said, well, look, yes, I'm a Muslim, but I'm a Moor, and I wouldn't tell you that I'm a Moor if I knew better, if I wasn't a Moor. He said, I'm a Moor, and that's the first time that I'd ever seen a member of the Nation of Islam, and it seems that him and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan was at our odds with one another. What's the scoop on that?
Oh, well, I met Farrakhan personally when I was in Memphis, and I gave him a copy of my book and his main security man, who was out of California. So we was out in Mississippi together, right outside of Memphis. And he knows better. Don't let Farrakhan fool you. He knows. See, that's that Western Freemasonry. Elijah Poole Bay was full of it. Okay, when you see these so-called black leaders and Muslims, and they know better. And check to see how much Masonry they're demonstrating, and that'll show you right there. You see them scratching and digging and carrying on, talking. There you go. Okay, Masonry will make you bury your own people and make you look good doing it.
So is Louis Farrakhan a Mason?
All of them are Mason. See, you got to look at it this way. The European is not going to let you run around here, running your beak, okay, unless you're doing him a favor. And the only favor you can do for the European Mason, the real Mason, is to keep the people buried, okay, in that shallow grave of the 14th, 15th Amendment. Now, you can look good, and he's going to make sure you got plenty of money and a nice place to stay and all that kind of stuff. It look good, okay? But that's what you better be doing. So all you got to do is look at any leader, any so-called black leader right now, and they're out there talking that old black talk. I don't care if it's a religion or it's in the church or it's on the street under the civic thing. They're writing books out. It don't make a dime worth of difference. The next question you ask yourself, are they a Mason? Okay?
Well, now, I got to ask this now, and I don't want nobody to get mad with me. Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, Ralph Abernathy, Andy Young, Mason or not?
All of them. In fact, I tell you what, there's a website that I went to, I guess about a year or so ago, and I put in, about I forgot how they did it. Who was a black Mason or who was a Mason or something like that. But you'll be amazed that just go to the internet, to the search, put it in the search engine, okay? Google it or whatever you want to do. And you'll be amazed. All the entertainers and those who, I mean, young brothers too, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Some other, basketball, football, they're on the stage singing songs and all kinds of stuff. Yep. And they popular, they're out there doing the thing. There's 9 chances out of 10. If they wasn't Mason when they got there, they're Mason now. They're gonna pull up on them, okay?
Okay. Now you mentioned Shaq.
Yeah. Now, what do you think he's? All these old pain pills. Shaq, yeah, he called it, he's a full-blooded Mason. Okay, that's what they call it. So
I'm gonna open up this phone line again here.
So when you get, as soon as you get a chance, I know you like to investigate things. Go to the search engine and put in Black Masons or something to that effect.
Okay.
And see what pops. The pictures and everything pop right up.
Okay.
I'm talking
well,
about.
I'm gonna do that.
I'm talking about. You're talking like Brown, great. I think with some of these singers, these young rappers and stuff, but they're there. Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah, man, she been a star. Ooh, man, when she was in Baltimore on the television station.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to open up area code 410 one more time. Area code 410.
Islam, this is Minister Anwar again. Grand National Chairman, could you just elaborate on that Boule Society?
Oh, you mean the top of the line Black Masons?
Islam. Yeah,
this is the Negro answer to the Illuminati. Okay, the Illuminati is the hierarchy of the European highest level of Western Freemasonry, and when it comes to the higher level or the highest order of the Black Masons, then you got the and the Boule Society. That's what they call themselves. Okay. And these are your really big wave up there, okay? You can put that in there in the search engine too. There's see Boule, Boule. Okay.
Thank you, Grand National Chair.
Yeah, man, you'd be amazed at some of the stuff. It'd be worth your time to look and see who's a Mason. Okay.
Islam.
Okay. Well, I got to figure out a way to put the poop back in the horse and get a cloth and see if I can clean off some of this stuff off the fan. I got another caller at area code 210. I'm going to open up the line. Area code 210, you are on the air. 210, hey, come on in.
How you doing, you brothers? I have one question. Okay.
Okay.
I hear the brother saying that the Illuminati and the Boule and all that stuff. How do these people have a normal life? And like me, I'm going to use me for example. I don't want to poke no fingers. Someone like me that came from the projects, wasn't nobody. Then all of a sudden, I come into some riches and everything, and then all of a sudden, I become a Mason. Now, I know for a fact Shaq wasn't a Mason before he started making all that money. Is it when they make so much money that they automatically make them become a Mason or something? Or they just get with some friends, get slicked into being a Mason? Or because, as for myself, I indulged in things that I shouldn't have done being in the military. I'm a military member back in the day. But since I found the Word of God, I stopped my practices. Now, I know I'm one of those philanthropist type Masons, you know, where you do charity and give out hot dogs on the corner, try to help the needy and stuff like that. But if you come into, I was hearing that if you come into a lot of money, regardless who you are, they're going to make you, you're going to either roll with them or they're going to do something to you, you know, like a lot of people went down with them. And next thing you know, they have accidents and stuff like that, you know. So is it when you get so much money and so much fame or something, you just they automatically draft you in like a Jay-Z or Beyonce and they control you? Is that what they're doing? That's it, bro.
Oh, you already know Jay-Z one of them, huh? Where he is.
That's down with, man. That sounds like the Aleister Crowley stuff. You know, like I say, I went all the way up to Knights Templar, and then I said, oh, I'm reading the Holy Bible, and I got up to Knights Templar. I said, now it's time for me to get out of this. So,
well, the thing about it is that when you have a talent, and then that's one of the first job is to exploit that talent. Okay, if you can sing, ice skate, whatever the case may be, then it ain't gonna be but a minute because they're there at the gate. Most arenas or stages or whatever, okay? Even most businesses where you would rehearse at and things, you're going to find it's right with Masons. So they're going to approach you, and it's just a matter of time. They're going to put it to you like it's a matter of prestige that you could be able to take these teachings with you wherever you want to go, okay? You can, in other words, if you are just starting off here, you in New York, they say, well, look, with your kind of talent, you're gonna be singing all over the country, man. Look, let me make you a brother, okay? And they'll set up a time for you to come down to the lodge, and they're gonna anoint you and make you take the oath and all that kind of stuff, to show you how to do a little scratching and digging and things, so that you can recognize others, they can recognize you. And it's on. Meanwhile, you trapped, but you don't even know it. You think that because now you're meeting other Masons all over the country, you think that you're all right, but you don't know that you've been had.
Right. Anytime you pledge allegiance to something else, you've been had anyway. I'm a 25-year veteran of the United States Army, and I look at it like this. I did pledge allegiance to that flag. I honored it while I was there, but when I got to reading and studying, no. I go back to the Most High Creator. I don't care. Everybody call me a rebel at the job. They say I hate America. Well, you know what? This ain't my birthplace. So, no, I want to go home. You know, I want to go home. Like I said, you know, for me to be one, I did ask because I used to see the symbols on cars and stuff like that, and I just want to be, a person in the community trying to do good. But then, as you go through it, you start learning, especially when I got to the rough side of it, and I was like, oh no, I'm trying to be a child of the Most High, so I cut everything off. But I just can't believe that being that I didn't have a father to teach me anything, I learned everything on my own or researched everything on my own. Mom tried to do the best she can. But, yeah, I can understand that these guys, I see a lot of these basketball players, I know they don't know nothing because they're young. They feel like they're in the in crowd. But they just don't know that they're being used for their God-given talents, but they ain't doing it for the Most High. They're doing it for the fame and fortune, and next thing you know, when you're down and out, or if you say something wrong or speak out for your people or something, next thing you know, you in an exploit, a tabloid, or something where they just do some junk garbage on you, and then I don't know what's going on, man. It's just wow because they got stuff where they talking about they clone, they kill Bernie Mac, they put something in you, they cloning people, all this type of stuff. I don't know what's going on. All I know, I just want out of the America period. It's time for me to roll. I don't know where I'm going, but I gotta go somewhere. I lean on the Most High to send me to the wilderness.
We'll just hang on for a few more weeks, and we'll show you how to stay home. Okay. One of the great things about this is that I can bear witness because what they did to me, I had the one brother, Robert Lovell, who's one of the leaders in the Moorish Science Temple. He had me locked up last time I was in jail because of him. And the reason why he did it because I was telling the Moors in the temple the truth about Western Freemasonry, and that you could not be by him being he was attending the lodge in Washington D.C. up on P Street Northwest. He was attending meetings up there more than he was in the Moorish Science Temple, and because I exposed him in Chicago, he messed around and had me locked up.
Wow!
But that was because he didn't know he was doing Allah's work at the time, because that's where I wrote the book, 700 pages, okay? Noble Dwali, the Zooming of a Nation. And the book freed everybody. So I ain't mad about it. I didn't understand it first, though, because if you let me out of there, I'd had another charge. But but I got the message of the book, okay? So you have to look at it this way. You are a God, and you are in the spirit hand, and things are going to come to you that's going to guide you as you move along, okay? And the next thing you know, you're going to be at another level, a higher level than you was before, and a lot of answers are going to start coming to you. So just be a little patient. You got it. You're already here, okay?
Because I'm tired of beating up on Catholics and Jehovah's Witnesses and Sunday worshipers. I'm tired of beating up on them anyway, so I'm welcome for the challenge.
Okay.
I'm on them every day, bro.
All right. Take care, brother.
You too.
Okay, we got another caller at area code 336. I'm going to open up the phone line.
Okay. Would you give me what kind of time we working with?
Okay, we ain't got but 28 minutes left.
Oh, I don't know. I was just asking. I didn't know.
Okay. Area code 336. You are on the air.
Yes, I'm in. This is Divine Minister Rogers Bay calling from North Carolina.
Okay, brother. Come on in.
Islam. Great conversation. Master Teacher, could you elaborate a little bit on, I guess, the star that's on the coffin that's in the Masonic Lodge?
The star?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, the star actually is the star of Morocco, the Moroccan flag, because Morocco was headed the West African slave trade. The coffin is the Moors. In other words, coming out Morocco through the West African slave trade, Morocco was the head of the West African slave trade under the auspices of the Arabian version of Islam and, should I say, Catholicism. Okay, so what happened was when the Masons got their act together and found out they could rule things here, because they took over the Americas by killing the Indians and whatever it took, so they could have their way. And as they imposed slavery out of the African brothers, then that's when they began to build the coffin. Now, the coffin is just what it said it is. It's called a shallow grave. And what it represents is that this is where the African nationals, men and women, are buried here in the West as Negro, black, and colored into this shallow grave, and whereas that it's the only coffin that's above ground. In other words, everybody can see you walking around talking, but you ain't saying nothing. You're speaking language, but it's a dead language because it don't mean nothing. In other words, everything you do, it just don't mean anything because you don't count. That's why I said earlier, if the United States wanted to do a genocide thing right now against all 60 million, what country in the world would come to our aid right now to tell the United States to stop killing us? Nobody, because we don't count. black people don't measure up to nothing. And so this is why the coffin is there, and the star represents the flag of Morocco, because that's our 5-pointed open green star. That's why in all the coffins you see the acacia tree over top of the coffin. That's above ground now. But the acacia tree is indigenous to the continent of Africa. The star is also indigenous of the northwestern shores of Africa, because that's where the slaves came from, the northwest and southwestern shores of Africa. So you look at the coffin, you see the Moors that's inside under the name, but on top of the grave is NBC, Negro, Black, and Colored. That answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, brother. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going down to the last 24 minutes. And the number to call in is 310-982-4184. 310-982-4184. Press 1 on your phone. That will give me an indication that you have something to say. I open up the line. Our special guest is the Grand National Chairman of the Moorish American Government, right now, right here with us today, Dr. Akhnaton, Pert M. Heru Tutankhamun. Got a question? Go ahead and raise your hand. I'm going to area code 240. 240.
Good evening, brother.
Come on in.
How are we doing? Good evening. I just want to say, this is my first time actually calling in on the call, and I'm really, really can appreciate the knowledge and wisdom that's been spoken tonight. And I really do want to get a chance, Doctor, to speak with you at some point soon, so I can kind of, catch up and really gain some knowledge. I have a couple of things going on myself now, court-wise, that I really will need some help on. So, I'd like to maybe get an opportunity to talk with at least one of you tomorrow, if possible.
Okay.
All you do is...
I can call the 434 number, or...
Yeah, you can call the 434 number, but you have to make it in the afternoon, because I just remember to have I got to take a brother down to the patient outside clinic or whatever in the morning around 7:30, 8 o'clock. So,
and that's really not all I want to know at all. Is just about court from the standpoint of my own personal, I guess, quote unquote defense, if you will. But I really do want to gain knowledge about this so that I can be knowledgeable about even my teachings. My heart's passion is to know not only what I need to know, but I guess who I am in the process of this. So I really look forward to the teachings and maybe some of the studies that you all have. Now let me ask you this: do you all do like many audio books? Because a lot of, I won't say a lot of, but a couple of people I know have visual issues, and they don't. So reading is kind of tough for them.
You mean, do we have books?
Do you have audio books?
Oh, I've got a couple of videos out there, but not audio books now.
Oh, okay.
But then again, wait a minute. Let me take that back, because the one that the company that stole my book has also got it on ebook now, and also the audio. Yes, it is. It sure is.
So your book is an ebook now?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, they're gonna pay me. Don't worry about that.
I hope they do. And then what was the name of your book?
Noble Drew Ali.
Okay,
and
so just
the subtitle is Exhuming of a Nation.
Okay.
That was mine.
I know that they will pay you. I absolutely know, without a doubt.
Yeah,
but I really do want to get on board with this, because I'm really excited about gaining knowledge in this area. So I appreciate all of your teachings even tonight, and I will definitely be doing some research.
All right.
Well, let me ask you a question before you go. What question would you like to have clearly understand, now that you're on the phone while we got the Grand National Chairman here, that might have been puzzling you, that he may be able to answer for you, if you have one?
Wow. Off the top, I don't know that I have one that well, there's so much that I really want to know, but I'm just trying to think of one in particular. I just want to know one thing I want to know is how to, deal in the United States public arena as it pertains to law, in dealing with law. I know it's so being used against us. So, I want to know how to have my own, defense, if you will, for lack of a better term.
Okay. Well, Grand Chairman, let me hold this on a minute.
Go for it.
Only thing you have to remember is two things. The United States is a corporation, and they are operating in commerce. They deal with two types of things, even though they like to deal with one, but the other is present and nothing they can do about it, and that's public and private. Now, of course, when you were born, your mother was tricked at the hospital, the birth certificate and all that right there, and that made you property of the state. But they turned around later on in the United States. Supreme Court ruled that the courts have no jurisdiction over a man and his property. Okay, so then that lets us know that only thing that we have to deal with is grammar. We know when we was in school the difference between a proper noun and an improper noun. A proper noun, when it comes to an individual or a man or a woman, is always spelled in upper and lowercase letters. So we know that when we get junk mail and people who are trying to get our business, they always address us in upper and lowercase letters as a man or a woman. But once we do business with them, it immediately turns into every collection, a bill that's coming to the house, your name is always in all capital letters, because the only thing that a corporation can do business with is another corporation. So they make you a corporation. So it's just a matter of English, mathematics, and it all points back around to one thing, more science. You're dealing with a species of individuals who had no history. There was thousands and thousands of years when we had ruled the earth and created some of the greatest kingdoms that the world has ever seen before there was ever a European. And that's what we started off the broadcast about, talking about the Masons and stuff. They didn't know anything about that. When they came into Egypt, they were shocked. They had never seen anything like that. And for the life of me, I still can't understand why they was calling Alexander the Greek Alexander the Great. Wasn't nothing great about it. But anyway, I hope I shed a little light on that. If you
yes, you did, and I've actually, I kind of came into this. I would go out to. I live in the Maryland area. So I would go out to see Brother Tariq Bey, and I'm sure you all may know him. And and so I kind of became enlightened with some of the things, but then I also saw that there was just so many people, and like you said earlier, it seems like everybody's against everybody, and one person puts down the other, and all that sort of thing. And then I would see a lot of people making all these proclamations, but there was no one really being effective. And when I do, first of all, I'm not trying to go into anywhere and be belligerent or anything like that. When I go and do what I need to do, I want to be knowledgeable about what I do and then have a reason to do what I do and be effective behind it. So I don't want to just kind of like pity pat and hear, one more, if I were you kind of deal. I want to really know what I'm doing.
Well, brother, I'm going to let the Grand National Chairman take over, but the only thing I can say is that there's a spiritual realm and a physical realm. There is a physical man and there's a spiritual man. And you get the power that you need by the research that you do. But you have to make sure that whatever it is that you're learning and you're going to use is something that you're actually doing. Mm-hmm. So we're here this evening to try to shed as much light as we possibly can on the subject about Masons and what has taken place in the past and where we are today and how it's going to affect us and where we're going to be going in the future.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I appreciate that. Like I said, I will definitely do some research and follow behind you guys and see where we can go with it. I'm very interested in the whole deal with the United Nations and want to get on board as well with that.
Okay. Well, I thank you for calling in, brother.
I appreciate you guys.
Okay. Grand National Chairman, we got 14 minutes. What's the most important thing that you can drop on us that we need to be paying attention to now? We're at the UN. We're at the door.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I was when I was speaking about put on the website. I was while I was sitting there listening. I just had to click on Jay-Z, and he got 25 rappers who have joined the Illuminati. Okay, all right. And it even goes back to how many of them was hit fame, including I know this gonna pilot. Well, anyway, like I said, you can just look it up. But the main thing is this: is that you have to look at Western Freemasonry for what it is. Okay, this was the instrument that was used to enslave our people, and like I describe it as a pair of handcuffs. Handcuffs can only do one thing, and that's restrain you. Okay, West can only do one thing, and that's to enslave you. It's not complicated. If you can, and all you got to do is ask yourself a little simple question like, how many of my brothers are free, although they say they're Western Freemasons? But how many of them are free? Not one. Not one. Okay? And that it doesn't matter who you put up there. Okay? So the thing about it is you got to come to the conclusion that if something is so popular and yet and still it won't free you, after about 500 years of it, then there's something. It's time to turn something loose or go somewhere else to do something. So it's not all right. So that's what I got to say. Just keep it simple. Don't complicate it. Just keep it simple.
Okay. Well, now, how do we? What is the best approach when we run into our brothers and sisters out there in the world, and they declare to us with pride that they are Masons? What do we do, in your opinion?
Well, that's it depends. Well, that's the time when you use what is called use your science. Okay, you have to give a message, the same message, to a 5-year-old that you give to a 50-year-old. But you have to use science as to how you deliver the message. So it's going to mean the same to both. So when you run into our people out there you're going to do it almost on a daily basis almost, that's caught up into, most of them, they don't know. Okay? And some of them is like, they're treated like a Christian is when it comes to the church. They look at it like that's my home. I took an oath. I've sworn to this. I've gave my heart to it, and this is this is who I am. And that's what they think. Perhaps it's true, So what you have to do, it depends on what level, depth that they're on, whether they're at the 4-year-old or the 50-year-old level. But you can use your science to give them the truth. The worst thing you can do is beat them in the head from the jump street. You ain't nothing. You ain't that. No, you don't have to do it that way. Just use your science and keep the love out front, and just let them have. Now, it's like you're an angel, because remember the 2 levels I was giving you? You got the great God there, and in the middle you got the angels, right? Well, whenever you're on a mission of truth, you're an angel. Angels not little pink little babies with wings on their back. No, they look just like people on this call, okay? And when you give your message, then that's a saving power. But when you do, don't get caught up in it. Remember, angels and rain, they work the same. When it rains, every drop of the rain has got potencies of life in it. But the rain don't decide whether it wants to fall on the desert or the forest. The job say fall rain, and that's what it do. Okay, it don't say, well, I ain't gonna fall there because that car dirty. No, it don't do it like that. Okay, so when it comes down to you're giving a message to a particular soul that you're trying to save, you give them the level in which they can accept it the best. Then you keep it moving. You just move on. It's not your job as to whether or not that person is going to grab it and run with it or going to grab it and run away from it. That's not your job. Your job is to give the message and give it in a receptacle manner, because why? It's life. It's the truth. So, but because you have more souls to save, let's keep it moving.
All right. Well, we're down to the last 8 minutes. Now, what I would like to know is closing words from you. The best that we can be doing right now, now that everything's in place, what do you have to say to us?
Well, I say just continue to listen in and stay in contact, with your station, with our references and things, because this is getting ready to hit. If I can't think of even the Olympics, I can't think of nothing that has hit that's going to hit the world stage as big as this information is when we are recognized at the United Nations. I can't think of nothing bigger, because it's going to upset a lot of things, a lot of people. You're going to have the light that all of a sudden it's going to click on. And if you've ever been in a dark room and all of a sudden the light hit, it takes some time for the people to adjust, okay? Well, that's the way it is when the truth hits at the world scale, like it's getting ready to do. They're used to dealing with war and people having shootouts and things like. They're used to murder and theft and sicknesses and diseases and all, but they're not used to freedom. They're not used to truth. They're not used to love. And they're not used to, what in the world you mean to tell me 60 million and all of a sudden they ain't who I thought they were? Now what? So it's going to change every aspect of life, government, everything. So we have to get ready for it, because it's getting ready to happen. And you also have to take into account that this is prophecy that's being fulfilled. All right? This is not a Pleasant Bay thing. It's not, Akhnaton, Tutankhamun Bay. No, it's not a Tarhaka thing. We are here because I can't think of a better era of time that I'd rather be in, although I've been here before, but not at this level. And right now, it's sort of like we are a bunch of Martin Luther King Jr., where that we've been to the mountaintop, and we've seen that now we're going to get together, but we as a people are going to get there. We got to become one people, and that's what we're going to do. We got our flag, we got our nationality with the free national name. We got that. We got our seal, emblem. We got our book of guidance. We got everything we need to be free, and that's what we're going to do. Okay? And it don't take a whole lot. Noble Drew Ali was one, and look what he did. Okay, what you think we're gonna do with about 10,000 people that got the same truth? That's gonna take up everything, and it's more of us than that. In fact, we can give accountability over almost 3 million just with us alone. Okay. So we're ready, and the reason why we have this call on the air and through the ether now is so that everyone else can get ready. If you were not ordained to be, you would not be on this call. You did not come on this call by yourself because something that you just wanted to do. No, this is the universal order working together collectively with us as a people. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Grand National Chairman, I think back when I was like 3 years old, my granddaddy bought me a rocking chair. And the man that sold it to him told him, said, this thing here will last through his lifetime and your lifetime. I used to get in that rocking chair. I used to be rocking. I used to turn that thing over to the side to let my shoulders and body and stuff hit the floor. And I was testing my physical body to see if I was going to be able to go the distance. And so far, I think I did okay. We have a few knocks and bumps and gunshot wounds, but I'm still here. But anyway, we'll ride this tide out all the way to the end. Then I'm going to probably might have to come back again and close it on out. You been here before me, too. we back on the pavement again to make this thing do what it's got to do until we get to perfection and all that good stuff. But anyway, I'm certainly glad that you came on the broadcast, and you have shed some tremendous light. I'm going to take this thing and tonight before I go to bed and go ahead and get it downloaded and uploaded and put it up on YouTube and all that, and I'll send you the YouTube link. And so we'll be rolling on into the next broadcast.
All right. Well, it's been an honor and a blessing, and I love you, man. So, and I love you too, families. So anytime we can help out, just let us know. We're here to help.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and close the broadcast out, man, and I thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Appreciate you.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we come down to the close of the broadcast. I've been your host, Tarhaka on Monterey Bay, and until next time, y'all have a good evening.
I've been waiting for you. Don't deny me. Come on, make my dream come true. Love can be so unkind. You are truly blessed when it's true love you find. So woman, don't be afraid to lose control. We must trust our touch. If we give of ourselves, we can share so much. Love and affection no longer a dream. Come on, release yourself, and you see what I mean. So woman, don't be afraid. Woman, don't be afraid. Woman, don't be afraid. Woman, don't be afraid. Yeah. Tears will never rain in your face. Oh, I'll bring you joy to take that place. Let them say that I'm weak for you, but what we have tonight will make us stronger as two. So woman, don't be afraid. afraid. Woman, don't be afraid, no. Woman, don't be afraid. Woman, don't be afraid.
It's time. Summon of the Moors, December 19th through the 20th in Jacksonville, Florida. Several great minds working on one collective, economic security. For the first time in Jacksonville, Tariq, Bay, Yusuf L, Akili, and back at the summit, Red Pill and Blue Pill, Tarhaka, Amana L. Bay, Sharif Noble, and our Amma, the Abundance Child, with myself, Dalo Sakub. Register today at www.summitofthemoors.com.